Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Veterans Florida Expo. We're really excited to be here. Um, today we're gonna talk about the business model canvas. But before we do that, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Ricardo Garcia. I'm an Air Force veteran and co-founder of the Veterans Entrepreneurship Initiative. We launched in 2013, and our mission is to empower and support veteran entrepreneurs through business guidance, education, and mentorship. And so we'd just like to thank Veterans Florida for this opportunity. They're grateful to partner with them and work together with them. They're an excellent organization. But I want to introduce my colleague here, Rafael, as well. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Rafael Camano, and thank you for participating in this class today. Thank you, Veteran Florida, for the opportunity. I want to tell you that if you're taking the class today, it is a great first step. A lot of times we like to work or spend a lot of time working in the business and not so much on the business. So I hope that today you can walk away with some good information that can help you validate and can help you structure and shape what you're doing. And if you want to learn more about us, please visit our website or visit Veteran Florida website. We're here to support you in any way that we can, and we look forward to the presentation, to participate with you in this presentation today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rafael. And so with that, let's talk about the business model canvas. So let's start backtrack a little bit. Let's talk about what a business model is. And so a business model describes the rationale of how an organization creates and delivers and captures value. So essentially, this is how a company creates value for itself while delivering products and services for its customers.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that there are different type of business model, and there are some that are hybrid, and there are some that are retail. And what I mean by hybrid, there are some that have the internet or website element to it, plus the retail side, the brick and mortar side to it. So there are different type of business model, and they're just different. But at the end of the day, you're in business.
Yeah, thank you, Rafa. So then today we're going to talk about what is the business model canvas. So the business model canvas is a tool that can help you map out your business model and test your ideas. And so essentially, this is a shared language that you can use to describe, visualize, assess the ever-changing business model. So there are 9 blocks, and we're going to focus on each one of the blocks and the questions you could ask yourself to complete that business model. And yeah, so the pioneers of this methodology, this lean startup methodology, Steve Blank, Alexander Osterwalder, Eric Ries, which we'll talk about them as we go through the presentation. But before we get started, we're going to do a quick video. Go ahead.
No, so before you start that, I just want to make everyone clear that that this is just a brief description of a business model canvas. We're going to be providing you with more information. So we may be giving you a lot of information up front, but at the end of the day, the business model canvas is a simplistic way for you to be able to articulate your idea and your business model before getting into the business plan. So just ride the wave with us today and enjoy the information, and you can definitely follow up with us later. But at the end of the day, it's just a simple way for you to articulate what you're trying to accomplish.
And test whether it works or doesn't work. So
that's right, because that's the second part of this business model canvas that we'll talk about later on, where you have to validate what you're doing, right? So we'll get into that in a minute.
Yep. All right, so let's get the video going here.
An organization's business model can be described with 9 basic building blocks: your customer segments, your value proposition for each segment, the channels to reach customers, customer relationships you establish, the revenue streams you generate, the key resources and key activities you require to create value, the key partners, and the cost structure of the business model. But it's not sufficient to just enumerate the 9 building blocks. What you really want to do is to map them out on a pre-structured canvas. This is what we call the business model canvas, a tool that helps you map, discuss, design, and invent new business models. Let's briefly go through the 9 building blocks, starting with the customer segments. These are all the people or organizations for which you're creating value. This includes simple users and paying customers. For each segment, you have a specific value proposition. These are the bundles of products and services that create value for your customers. The channels describe through which touchpoints you're interacting with customers and delivering value. The customer relationships outline the type of relationship you're establishing with your customers. The revenue streams make clear how and through which pricing mechanisms your business model is capturing value. Then you need to describe the infrastructure to create, deliver, and capture value. The key resources show which assets are indispensable in your business model. The key activities show which things you really need to be able to perform well. The key partners show who can help you leverage your business model, since you won't own all key resources yourself, nor will you perform all key activities. Then once you understand your business model's infrastructure, you'll also have an idea of its cost structure. So with the business model canvas, you can map out your entire business model in one image. This works for startup entrepreneurs just as well as for the most senior executives.
All right. So that's the business model canvas. It's a great tool to help you organize your business model, but also test and validate your business model. And so this is the canvas, and the canvas has 9 boxes, and there's a way to go about starting and to complete this canvas. So this is the order in which you want to approach the completion of the canvas. And Rafael, I don't know if you wanted to add anything here.
Yeah, just like in they mentioned in the video, you want to start with your customer segment. There are agencies and there are people that may say, well, you may want to start with your value proposition. And there are times that I ask for that first. But the best way to do it, especially on that first time, if you're an early startup, is just start with your customer segment. Who is actually going to be utilizing your services, the end user, right? So write those down first, and then you jump into number 2, which is your value proposition. My point is that you may find people that will tell you, well, what is your value proposition? Write that down first, start with that. And that's okay, but that's all depending on where you're at, in which stage you are as a business. So, but for all of you, and to be in a safe position, just think about your customer, right? Who are your customer? Who actually are you servicing? And who's buying your product?
Absolutely. And so there's also, you can break the canvas into two different sections, right? You have the right side of the canvas, which is the outward customer focused side, right? This is the side that obviously focuses on your customer or your market, but these are external factors. These are factors that are not really under your control. And then you have the inward business focus. So this is the internal factors that you mostly have under your control.
Yeah, so the left side basically is focusing on the business. Left side focusing on the business, right side is focusing on the customer, and together then you guys are providing a value proposition, right? So this is the best way to split it and to think about it. And a lot of people would like to tackle, and they do tackle the right side first. They start with the right side. And I think moving forward, and I think Ricardo will be in agreement with me that will be the best way to tackle, because at the end of the day, you need to have a good value in order for people to buy your services, right? So you need to start with that and then build the business side of it first. Second.
Absolutely. And I think you have to understand, when you're creating the business model canvas, all these boxes have to talk to each other and align with each other. And as you go through this process, you'll discover that some things may not align properly. And that's when you can start to to pivot or tweak your business model so that they do talk to each other. And we'll get into that in the next couple of slides. So some tips for completing the canvas. A canvas is an iterative process, and it will change and evolve as you build it out. And it'll change with your company. As your company grows, you may get different customer segments or offer different value propositions. So this is an ever evolving document for your business. So
Yeah.
you never want to go ahead, Rafael.
No, I was reading the title, right? Tips completing the canvas, but in reality, you, you will never be able to complete the canvas because, as you said, the canvas is always evolving. You can finish a draft, right, and validate that, but it's a living document that you should force yourself to look at it anytime you can.
Absolutely. No, that's a great point. I think that should be more of tips for leveraging the canvas than completing the canvas.
Right, 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 right.
And so you never want to write directly on the canvas since it will change. So you can use sticky notes like these, right?
Hmm.
And keep your sentences to really short, simple word phrases per sticky. And
Yeah,
so
you should never write a sentence, honestly. Try to minimize it to a few words. Force yourself to do that. At the end of the day, it will make sense to you. But if you start writing sentences or a long or paragraph, then you're defeating the purpose.
absolutely. So we're gonna get started. We're gonna go and dive in deeper into each of the boxes. So let's go in and dive in. So we'll start with the customer segments. So the customer segments is one of the most critical components of your business, right? You want to define, this is where you define the different groups of people or organizations your business aims to reach and serve. So you got to define who are they and why they would buy from you. And in order to figure this out, you have to get out of the building and put together a good archetype or persona of the different customer segments you're reaching. So some of the questions that you can ask are, for whom are you creating value? For whom are you solving a problem for? Who are the most important customers? So think target market and then define the market size. And it's also important to recognize that you may have multiple customer segments, and that's great. And even further, which we'll talk about in the next slide, is the value proposition may change depending on your customer segment.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the fact that a lot of companies they have multiple customer segments. So when you go through this exercise and this journey of creating your business model canvas, it is crucial that you identify who is that second customer segment. And by the way, when you do that, you may want to use a different color sticky note when you write that down, or use a different model canvas for it. A good example, if you own a property and you want to get into the Airbnb or BRBO type of business, then then if you are Airbnb, right, you have two customer segment, people like yourself that have a property and you want to make money. And then you have the end users that will be staying at your property. So Airbnb needs to be needs to provide value to the end user who are going to be renting your property, and also to yourself, because they need to attract people like you with property so they can sell that space. So make sure that you use a different color note on that business model canvas, or just start a different model canvas with that customer segment.
Absolutely. That's a great point. And so the next box we want to focus on is the value proposition. This is another critical component of a business. So this is basically, what pain are you solving? The value proposition is a promise of value to be delivered and communicated or acknowledged. And so this is the why your customers will turn to your company instead of another company. So some questions you can ask yourself here are, what value do you deliver to your customers? Which one of your customer problems are you helping to solve? Which customer needs are you satisfying? Why would somebody want to have this problem solved? And what is the underlying motivator for this problem?
Yeah, a lot of people, Ricardo, they this is a challenge. I think this is challenging for everyone, right? Because at the end of the day, we all think that we're providing value, and we start writing things that perhaps are not important for the end user. So one of the things that is always good to do as a business owner, get testimonial, talk to your customer, uh, find out why are they buying from you, right? What is your competitive advantage? Why should you be different from the other company, right? And try to come up with qualitative and quantitative information that you can put in your message, right? So what are the benefits? Are you saving me 20% of the cost per year? Are you providing me a faster car? Are you providing me a better home? So and then why, the why, right? So talk to the end user, talk to your customer, figure out why your value is so important to them, and then start using that and plug that as your solution to that problem that they're having.
Absolutely. And I think to that end, it's not all about, so if you're a tech company, you're developing an app or whatnot, it's not about the technology necessarily. Technology is a component of your business model, and we'll talk about where that fits in. It's customers really care about is solving a problem or a need, right? And so you got to focus it in that, and from that perspective. So
Yeah, just real quick, there's a headache and there's a migraine, right? So if you're solving a migraine, then that's a great value proposition, right? And if you have a solution for that migraine, so you don't want to be the Tylenol or the aspirin, you want to be that powerful drug, right? That can take care of that migraine, and that should be your value proposition.
yep, that's a great analogy. And so there's this great exercise that Alexander Osterwalder put together. It's called the ad-lib value proposition template. And this is a great way for you to help organize your value proposition. This can also serve as an elevator pitch. So this is a way to model it. So then you add your products and services, help. What is your customer segment? Who want jobs to be done by reducing or avoiding, and then you add a customer pain there, and increasing or enabling a customer gain there, and this is where you could add your differentiator.
And this is something that I think at the end of the day, although it's your value proposition, once you get the message right, you can use this as your elevator pitch. Okay, and I think this is a great exercise that everyone should complete. But I would like to add that you may want to explore this once you finish that first round of your business canvas. So when you do go and talk to your potential customer or customer segment, then you can use it by saying what you wrote down here, and explore how did that go and make changes. And we'll go through it in a little bit in a few more slices.
That's a great point. So let's take a look at an example here. So we have this company, and they say our taxi smartphone app helps taxi passengers who want to book a taxi by minimizing waiting time for a taxi and enjoying affordable prices, unlike the typical taxi by phone services. Rafael, what company does this sound like?
I don't know, man. Let me guess. Uber?
Yes, absolutely. And Uber's obviously not the only one, but as you can see, this is a very clean and concise way to illustrate the value proposition that the company offers. And as we all know, Uber's been widely successful in their technology, right? And that's a very unique business model too.
So real quick, so does Uber have more than one customer segment? The answer should be yes, right? Just like the Airbnb exercise or example that I provided earlier, Uber basically are serving drivers and is serving the passenger, right? So those are two customer segments that they need to concentrate on. And so each customer segment will benefit from a different value proposition.
Absolutely. So as you could see in this example, the value proposition is targeted at the customer, right? The one that needs the ride. But you're right. Uber does have other value propositions like and other customer segments like the drivers, right? There's a unique value proposition to the driver as well. So
yeah, like flexibility, right?
Yep. And the ability to make extra money on demand.
On the spot. Yeah, on demand. Yeah. Yep.